So, dude, TCNJ.
Yeah.
What's the process of going to same high school as me? So Nottingham, chilling, graduating. How many schools did you apply to? Was that the school you wanted to? I know they have a very good teaching program.
Yeah, so I guess, in high school, I kind of figured out that I wanted to pursue a career in education. I had a lot of teachers that kind of influenced me in my life, and, it sounds cliche, but, as a student going through, if you have tough times in your life, sometimes a teacher may be there for you because you see your teachers almost as much as you see, like, your parents,
That is true. Let me ask, what kind of things did teachers do for you? Because personally, I don't know if I've ever had, like, a close companionship with a teacher.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, like, I had a lot of things going on in my life. I just feel like I was kind of a bad kid. Not like, especially when I was younger, like elementary, middle school, I was going through a lot of different stuff at home. And like, that's an emotional time for a lot of kids growing up. And I just had some teachers that, were really there for me and would make that extra effort to try to connect with me. And then you also obviously have the teachers that, you look back on and say like, wow, I really dislike that teacher. And honestly, like both of those experiences with those different types of teachers made me want to pursue a career in education because I felt like, I wanted to do what those great teachers did for me. Mm-hmm. So then going to high school, starting to think about applying to schools and stuff. I wanted to stay in state, just, money-wise, it's a lot cheaper. I didn't want to be too far from home.
Okay.
That wasn't something that I really wanted to do at that time. So I applied to a bunch of places in New Jersey. TCNJ was my top choice just because they have such a great school of education. It's one of the best in the Northeast for teaching. And I was lucky enough to get into TCNJ and, kind of went from there. But TCNJ was definitely my top choice.
Top choice. So that's pretty lit. That probably was a good feeling. The school you
definitely.
really wanted to go to got accepted. So you did a double major. So it took you an extra year to graduate. And you have a history degree or a teaching degree?
So it's technically, a history degree, but it's history and secondary education was my, major. And I also had a minor in political science too, because when I went to college, I wasn't really sure, I was interested in politics and government and all that kind of stuff as well. So I picked up a minor in that. So yeah, it did take me an extra year to graduate. For people that are going to school, there's a lot of like, there's this whole like pressure and stigma around like graduating in 4 years. But I think it's important, like, you're only in college once. I mean, especially if you're just going for your bachelor's.
True.
And I think it's more important to like figure out what you want to do rather than like rush through the 4 years.
And then be like, oh, I got to look for a job.
And a lot of people are like, oh, like, I've already been in it for a year or two. I don't want to change my major now. But then you have to realize that's what you're stuck with now for your career.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it was a bad thing necessarily that I took an extra year. I just think that was the situation in my circumstances.
That's good. That's good. But do you want to use eventually? Could you use the political science degree in teaching? Because you probably teach poli-sci, right?
What I teach is 8th grade U.S. history. So a lot of that has to do with, we teach early U.S. history. So a lot of that has to do with like the Constitution and how our whole government's set up. So obviously like that kind of is intertwined with political science and 100%. Politics and how government works. So honestly, I think having that minor didn't really, isn't the reason I got the job that I have, but I think it helps me and I think it gives me, a better perspective.
They probably did see that on your resume. It was like, oh, he's got this too, right?
I mean, it could have helped, but I don't know if it was like the make or break thing,
Yeah, no, that's good though. That's why they recommend these double majors and going back for school